Hello, guten Tag, hello fourth years, and here is our work for today. I'm just going to run through very briefly on this video the two main points of what I want you to cover today. And just for you, I've given you already here, you can see on your screen, a nice title and an appropriate date, Mein Wochenende, and the date is Donnerstag, den 23. April. And I'm sure, and I hope, you all know what the title, Mein Wochenende, means in English. So let's have a look at what we're going to look at. And the first thing is the future tense. Now, this is not something new because we've seen the future tense before, and I hope you can all remember what I say about the future tense. It is, of course, all together now, not that I can hear you, the easiest tense in the world. And why is that? That's because there is one very simple rule that is applicable to every single verb in the entire German language. If you wish to put it into the future tense, what two bits do you need? You need one special verb first of all. What verb is that? It is the verb werden. And what do you need also, as well as the verb werden in its appropriate form? It could be ich werde, it could be wird or sie wird, it could be wir werden. But you also need, in addition, an infinitive, which will go where? It will go at the end of the sentence, of course. Werden plus an infinitive at the end of the sentence. That's it. That's the rule for the future tense for every single verb in the entire German language. So, to prove that you can remember all that, here are three sentences with the appropriate forms of the future tense missing. I'm going to rub out the missing words. Or I'm not going to rub out the missing words. I'm going to make them appear, actually. I rub out the covering for them. And I'd like you to have a think before I get to reveal the words, what the words should be. So in the first sentence, ich blank morgen Fußball blank. What word is sitting underneath this cover? If I reveal it, it is, of course, the word werde, ich werde. And what could possibly be the word at the end of the sentence here? Ich werde morgen Fußball spielen is, of course, the correct answer. Ich werde morgen Fußball spielen, which in English means I will play football tomorrow. Okay, the second sentence. This one starts with So the missing word here is not going to be werde, because that's the ich form. What's it going to be in this gap? It's going to be the word wird. The sie, s form of werden is wird, W-I-R-D. Wird nächste Woche seine Hausaufgaben. What word is missing here? It is machen, of course. Wird nächste Woche seine Hausaufgaben machen, which in English means he will do his homework next week. He'll do his homework next week. I wonder who that could be about. Moving swiftly on to the third sentence. Nächstes Jahr. What is going to go into this gap? Well, it's not really nächstes Jahr we need to be looking at. It's what's coming up after the gap that we need to be looking at. It's wir. So therefore, that tells us that the missing word is going to be werden. Nächstes Jahr werden wir nach Dublin. What word could be in here? Nächstes Jahr werden wir nach Dublin fahren would be the correct word. Fahren. Not really gehen, but fahren would be better. And that means next year we will go to Dublin. Okay. So that is a reminder of the future tense. And you notice also within each of these sentences I've put a time phrase. The word morgen, meaning tomorrow, nächste Woche, meaning next week, and nächstes Jahr, meaning next year. I don't have to have a time phrase in my future tense sentence, but quite often you may well see it. But there's another point that's coming up today as well, which is here. And that is that we don't actually have to use the future tense always to talk about the future. We need to at GCSE. We need to show to the examiner we can produce the future tense. And if it's the easiest tense in the world, hey, why not? But sometimes we will see or hear someone talking about the future without using the future tense. What do we mean by that? Well, it's all explained in this green box, which I've taken from the book. So, to express future actions in German, as we know, we use the correct part of the verb werden. plus a verb in its infinitive form. And here's another example. Ich werde Zeit mit Freunden verbringen. Verbringen means to spend time. Zeit means time. So I will spend time with friends. There we go. But what they are also suggesting is, actually just like in English, you could use the present tense with a time phrase that is telling us I'm talking about the future, like a word morgen, tomorrow, später, which means later, or am Wochenende, at the weekend. So später verbringe ich Zeit mit Freunden. Later, I'm spending time with friends. I've used the present tense here, not the future, and indeed I've done the same in English. I am spending time is a present tense. It's what I'm doing right now. I'm spending time talking to you guys. That's a present tense. But by adding a time phrase like later or tomorrow or next week, then it's clear that I'm talking about a future action. Later I'm spending time with friends. I'm not spending time with them now, but I will be later. So it's good that you're aware of that, but certainly when it comes to writing and speaking in German, we do need to use the future tense as much as we can, because the examiners will be looking out for it. But you don't always need to. Okay, that's point number 1 for today's lesson. There is another point as well that comes up as well, which is all to do with the exciting word in, which is a preposition. And hopefully you all know what you all know what the word in means in English. You may not know what a preposition is. It's a small word that comes before a noun. We have looked at some before, but we should all know that in means in. However, there's a couple of interesting things about this, fascinating facts. So the preposition in, it can mean, of course, in, but it can also mean into. And it is followed by the accusative case in German when it has a meaning of movement, going into somewhere. And it's followed by the dative case in German when it's describing just position and no movement. So if you are talking about, for example, ich gehe, I'm going, that's going to be movement, of course. I'm going into the park, ich gehe in den Park. Masculine noun, accusative word for the is den. I'm going into school, ich gehe in die Schule. Feminine noun, accusative word for feminine noun is die. And for a neuter word like Freibad, which remember is a swimming pool, but what particular kind of swimming pool? It is an open air or outdoor swimming pool. Ich gehe in das Freibad. Das is the neuter accusative word for the. But with in das, we can abbreviate that if we want to ins. Ich gehe ins Freibad. You must remember, ich gehe ins Kino is a phrase that I'm sure you know. I'm going into the cinema. So we need to know whether a noun is masculine, it's feminine, or it's neuter, and then we'll have a different word for the in the accusative case for somewhere you're going into the park, into the school, into the swimming pool. However, if you are already there and you want to tell someone where you are, you're not moving into it, that's where you are. So I am in the park. You're calling up your friends, where are you? I am in the park. So now you're going to use the dative case, and the dative case word for the, we've seen it before, for a masculine noun is dem. So you would say ich bin, I am, not I'm going, because I'm saying where my position is. Ich bin in dem Park. And if I'm going to jump down to the neuter noun, you'll see it's exactly the same for neuters. Ich bin in dem Freibad. And if we want to, we can abbreviate the words in dem to im. So I can say either ich bin in dem Park or ich bin im Park. I am in the park. I can say ich bin in dem Freibad or ich bin im Freibad. I'm in the swimming pool. But for a feminine noun, the dative word for the is, a bit bizarrely, the word der. So ich bin in der Schule. I am in the school. Or of course, as for all of us is the case at the moment, we might say ich bin nicht in der Schule. I am not in the school. Okay, so that is all coming up today. I've obviously taken that from the book. The exercises I'm going to want you to do this afternoon are from pages 56 and 57, pages 56 and 57. The exercises specifically from these two pages I want you to do, they are all marked in Firefly. There are also 2 listening tasks for you to do, exercise 2 and exercise 5. And hopefully there should be a link in the Firefly task to the audio files for each of those tasks. So have a go at those tasks, then we'll meet together on Teams to go through the answers to that afterwards. If you're not able to join us live, on Teams, then I will record that meeting so you can catch up with it later. Okay, also, viel Glück, viel Spaß, bis später. Danke, tschüss.